PassCode with DESTINEX. It's the brand new song, and as you can see, we're here for the premiere, but you're thinking, Howard, why have you got it paused at 6? Well, that's because I was just about to record me reacting to the premiere, and then I realised I didn't have the microphone set up properly, so I've had to pause it right before it's about to begin, do the preamble again. I'm going to make a little coffee while I'm at it, and then we're going to jump in to listening to this new premiere. Basically, I'm really excited about this. You know, PassCode have been one of those groups who have all the different ways we've heard metal and J-pop brought together ever since, you know, baby metal popularized it over 10 years ago. PassCode's been one of the most interesting ones for me. They get the heaviness across, they get so much of the catchiness across, but they do it in this really cool way that mixes together a lot of metal and EDM-ish pop tropes. You know, they play with production, they play with all these things. They don't feel restricted. They feel like a group who's just leaning into their sound and doing something unique and creative. And I must admit, ever since Emily joined, you know, I've never been a big fan of scream vocals, but as I've said, Emily, I've really enjoyed what she did with Lady Baby. She was in my favorite iteration of Lady Baby. And then when she came across to PassCode, I feel like for me, it's got even better. But they also seem to be having so much fun. You know, but just a lot. Freely was great, but since then we've had more and more songs where they just feel like they're having more and more fun. So I don't know what DESTINEX this new song is going to be, but it's about to premiere. So let's enjoy it together. Well, it's already premiered. We're waiting. Let's go. Yeah. Delayed premiere. That's a very PassCode way to begin. Loving the cool and answer vocals straight off the bat. Nice confident walk. Again, we're getting those rhythm changes in the background that are so PassCode, but I'm waiting for the hook. That's definitely designed for audience participation. I'm intrigued by this quarry setting, but the song is just... It's definitely a single. You can just feel that single energy. There's this sort of relentless energy to this. It's really counting along, changing it, staying on this march. This one. What in the Mad Max PassCode is going on? Again, these little rhythm changes, sticking to the rigid, relentless tempo. Oh, that's funky. There's something very just like really cool energy about this. I'll get back to explaining why afterwards, but I'm loving this. kind of single you want from PassCode, you know? Yeah. See, I'm really on board with that. Yeah, okay, that's the end of the Premiere's already weird on the pause bar, but let's get a nice frame and let's talk about this, because this was just this scene where they're running as well. I think we would get more answers about what was going on in this video at the end, but we kind of didn't. Maybe, hey, if you know what was going on in this video, let me know at the end. But I like the let me know in the comments. But I love the whole visual aesthetic of this. Right. We really have to talk about this song, because this is continuing a trend that I've noticed with PassCode in recent years, where their singles are definitely going more in the direction of being a little bit more accessible than the early days PassCode from pre-Emily. And I say this with a lot of respect for that era, because I am someone who loves songwriting, and so I've always been very fond of that early area where the songs would just go completely mental and go all over the place and totally off the wall. But when it comes to what we're getting with the a lot of the modern PassCode songs, especially the singles, is I get the feeling that they're a little bit more accessible, but they still are not complacent. And this, to me, it means that they're walking this really nice line with songs like this, where, you know, you can just, like, you can headbang along to this, you know, anyone can headbang along to this. It's not throwing so much at you that it's going to be, like, really surprising. But at the same time, while you're headbanging along to it, there's little changes. You know, it goes from, like, a funky rhythm to, like, a really heavy sort of, you know, stabbing guitar rhythm to something which is, like, punky and moving along, but it's staying at the same tempo. If you are headbanging, whatever the rhythm does, your headbanging will remain in time. It's not like it's going to suddenly go from fast through to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, it's not a total time signature change. It's just a change of the rhythms that you're getting within that structured beat that is going on throughout the entire song. And that, to me, is that's a cool way of approaching these singles, and at the same time keeping alive the core of what PassCode is, which is songs that are nimble on their feet. You know, they are changing something regularly, so they never just sound like they're repeating a certain phrase or becoming complacent. So for me, this really did engage with a lot of the things that have made PassCode's recent singles very, very cool. I felt it had a good, catchy vibe to it. I love the way that the vocals passed backwards and forwards between the members as well, which is nice. You know, you get a feeling that they're all singing as a group. You know, it's again, one person gets a line, another gets a line, and you can hear the differences in their voices, even using like the sort of vocoder-esque effects. You know, you can still hear the differences in their tones and their projections. And then obviously Emily, I like the way she's doing the scream vocal, but again, it's used sparingly for like punch and impact at the right point, but just not just all the time, just used in those right little moments so that it has the impact when it's necessary. I really like that bit where she kind of goes funky and then her voice builds up and it builds into the scream. That was a little bit later on. But yeah, I felt like she had some really great moments. So we're set to go. Now it's time to go. That little build up there, I mean, apart from anything else, that was just fantastic. Yeah, the song has some really cool stuff going on in it that just reminds you of the fact that PassCode sounds unique. They play with those digital effects, but they also do the hard rocking thing. They're managing to deliver songs that are catchy and engaging and have replay value, but at the same time never sound complacent and repetitive. Yeah, I just felt this was a charming reminder of all the things that we love about them. And the video itself, you know, the video was a bit confusing, but I've often said this, you know, sometimes the most important thing that a music video really needs is, one, it needs to feel like it's on board with the atmosphere of the song, and it needs to cut and move. Yeah, everything you see on screen needs to move in a way that visually it feels like it's in the same sort of rhythm as the song. You know, you want to feel in the way that the camera moves, in the way that the shots are cut, the same sort of tempo, the same sort of vibe and energy as what the song's doing at the time. And I think this did it really well. You know, it started off with that sort of one single shot moving backwards, but they're walking. So you got like a bit of a, you know, a little bit of a energy. They're walking towards you. You can feel that sort of progression in the energy. And then as things move over, you get the sort of more tight rotating shots and you can feel the tension building up. And I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea why they're running through like some quarry in a Mad Max-esque sort of scene with like little what looks like bullet explosions around them and stuff and being chased. And I have no idea about any of this, but for some reason, it just feels right. And that makes it a good music video, you know? So, yeah, I got a good kick out of this. I really enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to come back and listen to this again. This was fun. This is a good example of what I would come to a PassCode single for. Yes, I'm still hoping that we get, like, album tracks. Because obviously this is related to their new album. I'm looking forward to that as well. I'm hoping that we get a lot more album tracks which explore more of their more complicated and bizarre side of their music writing as well. But a single is a single. It's supposed to be the accessible way that you reach out to the wider audience and make your new releases known to as many people as possible and try and gather as many potential new fans as well. That's what singles are for. You know, so as a result, I think this is a great example of how to do that. It's true to what PassCode is, but it feels like it's reaching out and making an accessible case for new fans to come on board and bridge the gap from maybe something else they've been listening to before me, or maybe they're into something like Baby Metal or Hana Beer. And this is a great way of bringing those new fans in. So I thought this was really cool. I enjoyed it. PassCode, as always, doing PassCode things, being unique, being a bit crazy, and I love them. I love them. Such a cool group. This is really fun. I will be sad if there's ever a day that we don't have PassCode, because they just add something that, you know, no one else is PassCode. PassCode or PassCode. That's all you need to know. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments. As always, yeah, this doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it does what a single should do, and it reaffirms, tells you their new album is coming out. I think it's a full album. I'll have to double check. But tells you their new release is coming out, lets you know they're back, and it refreshes their formula. So, like I say, get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.